Hello gamers, and welcome back to another episode of Solo Spelunking. And this is a very special episode because I've been looking forward to continue my Star Wars powered by Shadowdark, Stardark campaign with my two characters, Nash Duncan, smuggler, scoundrel, and pilot for hire, and his mysterious client, patron, passenger, Rhya, an Eldridian shadow huntress. However, Nash Duncan has no idea about what she is and where she's from. And she hired him to travel to coordinates close to the Keldor Nebula in the Keldor sector, and there they're supposed to find a ship that is adrift, and Rhya, she wants to board that ship, retrieve some sort of item that she didn't go into detail about, and then destroy the vessel. And we were starting from the Calcaris system down here, which is a wretched hive of scum and villainy. And I created this sector in my setup episode for this series, so you can check that out. And as you can see here, the tricky part is that there's no hyperspace route running through these coordinates. The coordinates are here. So the last session I used to introduce the characters, to get into detail about the background of the series, and to introduce the characters to each other. And then I calculated a hyperspace route to these coordinates, which took a while, 3 hours, and it was a difficult astrogation roll and or navigation roll. And now we are on our way to these coordinates, and this is where we left off last session. So I changed my lighting setup around a little bit. So if I am going to show pictures today on my tablet, I hope that it's not all glary and reflecting like it was last time. So just as a reminder, this is my starship, the versatile Rust Bucket. This is Nash Duncan's starship, an old Corellian Engineering YR 1080 light freighter, and I completely made that up. I don't know if there's a series like that. It's an old predecessor to the successful YT series of Corellian Engineering transports. Very basic stats. And we are on board this vessel now to head for these coordinates. Yeah, so now we have to determine how long it'll take us to get there. And the thing is, because I'm not using a hyperspace route, it'll take like the normal distance. It would maybe, let's say it'll be like 2 hours per square. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 hours plus 2d6 hours because it is a completely unknown route. So let's roll. And now I got my nice new dice tray here. So that is 4 and 1, that is 5 plus 10, that is 15 hours. But I have to multiply this by my hyperspace multiplier of 2.5. So that is 15 times 2 is 30, and 7.5. And that is 37.5 hours. So I put this in my notebook, 37.5 hours to get there. And how I handle hyperspace travel is that for every fraction of 10 hours, I would make a random encounter check with a d10, but only on a 1, there will be an encounter. This is because encounters in hyperspace are pretty rare by Star Wars lore, so it might either be like a technical difficulty, or you pick up a distress call, or you're interdicted by pirates or the Empire, which is very unlikely if you're traveling on a completely unknown route, and something along these lines. So I'm taking now 4d10 because it's 37 hours, so it is like for every fraction of 10 hours it is a roll, so that'll be 40 hours, so that is 4d10. And if I roll a 1, or for every 1 I roll, there will be a random encounter in space during hyperspace travel. Oh, and it's one encounter. All right, so one encounter. And what I do is for hyperspace encounters, or because it's actually pretty limited, I got this nice little roll table here. So I'm making from this roll, I'm making a mini oracle. So it'll either a mini table. It'll either be a hazard, so like an iron storm or a debris field. Then it might be some technical issue, or it might be a distress signal, or let's see what else. Some sort of strange space creature. That might also be possible. That somehow generates some sort of interference field that would drop you out of hyperspace. All right, so yeah, we are on our way, and I talked to Rhya. All right, that's it. So we are on our way, but like I said, this vessel, let's put it this way, it is not one of the fastest vessels around, sadly, at least not yet. With the credits you're going to pay me, the first thing I will do is upgrade its hyperdrive. And so it'll take us at least, I would say, like 3 days to get to these coordinates. So we might as well use this time to get to know each other some more. And I'm looking at her beautiful statue-like face, this pale skin, and there's almost no reaction. And she goes, "Why would you want to get to know me? I mean, what is there to know? I hired you, I pay you, you do what you're told or paid to do, and this is it. Just a normal business relation, as you humans are so fond of. You know, Rhya, you talk in a somewhat dismissive demeanor about us humans. Did we do anything to earn this disrespect, or what problem do you have with the human race?" What problem I have with the human race? And she raises just one eyebrow. Are you serious? Look around you. The galaxy is ruled by a tyrannical regime made out of humans. Aliens, even the term is racist. Non-humans, other species, are hunted, are treated like first or second class citizens. And this empire of yours occupies entire worlds. So do you seriously need to ask what my issue is with humans? You know, Rhya, I don't like the Empire either. As a matter of fact, I'm sure the Empire doesn't like me as well. And you probably heard of the rebellion against the Empire, of these brave resistance fighters made out of humans but made out of all kinds of species that are joined together in a common cause. So, what do you think? That we chose this rule over the galaxy? That this emperor speaks for all of us humans? Well, you're mistaken. But if your opinion of us is so set in stone, then maybe we should limit our interaction to purely business related conversation. And I again give her some sort of probing look, and yeah, she looks at me, and yeah, I can't read anything out of her statue-like face. So I don't know if I somehow got through to her, if she is doing some thinking. She just, her raised eyebrow just relaxes, and she just looks at me and goes, "This is a freighter, right?" "Yeah." "Do you carry any cargo at the moment?" "No." "So that means your cargo bay is empty or almost empty? There's a lot of space available?" "Yeah, so what is it? Just say what you want." "Can I use your cargo bay for some training exercises? I need some room, I need some area to train in." "Sure. What do you need to train?" "Well, if you need to know, combat techniques, of course. What do you think?" "Combat techniques. I gotta keep in shape. I gotta keep my body toned. I gotta keep my senses sharp and focus on my blade technique." "All right. I also have a couple of training remotes if you want to give that a try." "Are you needed here in the cockpit?" She goes, "No, not really. I mean, it's on autopilot, and if ever anything goes wrong, I'll be alerted or the emergency shutdown kicks in." "All right. Then why don't you accompany me in this cargo bay of yours and show me these training remotes?" "Gladly." So, yeah, we head towards the cargo bay, and she's still in her very attractive body glove that enhances her form and her athletic body. And yeah, and then before, so I show her the training remotes and show her how to set them up. And then she's like, "All right, thank you. You know, I'm a little curious. Do you mind me watching for a while?" "Sure, why not? But don't get in the way. I don't want to accidentally cut your arm or worse, your head off." Yeah, I'll stay right here." All right, and then she goes into the middle of the cargo bay, and she sort of meditates and takes some deep breaths, closes her eyes as if she wanted to somehow get attuned to the force, which of course I do not know because of course I've heard the stories about the Jedi, because that's like the thing. If you watch the original trilogy, you think like those Clone Wars and the Jedi yeah, as if there were some long lost civilization, but this is total bullshit because like, what is it, like 20 years? I mean, Luke was born at the end of episode 3, and episode 4 he's like 18, so or 19. So when he embarks on his quest, the Empire is in power for like what, 20 years. So it's not like nobody knows of the Jedi. So of course he has known of the Jedi and the Force and lightsabers and all that stuff, but yeah, obviously never encountered one, and he doesn't know what she's doing. And then she takes this very finely crafted hilt from her belt, this wooden hilt with a metal inlay, finely crafted, with a leaf-shaped wrist or hand guard, and she ignites it, and into being comes a purplish blade, which is like a lightsaber, but it looks a little bit different. It looks, yeah, like I said, just as the dark saber almost. So not as a lightsaber, but as a real sword, like a real sword with a cutting edge and slightly curved blade, and it is in a deep purplish tone. And this is her miniature. So this is, of course, a normal lightsaber. But yeah, and those of you wondering, this is Mara Jade Skywalker. And I just repainted her hair. And that is Rhya. So, and I'm like looking in astonishment because I've never seen such a weapon like this. And then the air is filled with this characteristic hum of a lightsaber, that noise a lightsaber makes when it slashes through the air, basically. And then she assumes a combat stance, and then she makes some sort of like a shadow battle, like a kata with her lightsaber. And yeah, her movement is very fluid and graceful, and it appears as if this force blade, this lightsaber, is a natural extension of her body. And then after she is done with her first kata or shadow combat, she takes out her dagger, and she's got a sonic thermal dagger, and this is like a vibro dagger. So the blade vibrates in a ultra high frequency, and the cutting blade is superheated, just like you've seen in The Bad Batch. And Dryden Voss, also in the Solo movie, has a dagger like this. So this is the dagger I'm talking about, that you have in a picture in your eyes, in your mind, and a mental picture. So and then she makes another kata using both her dagger and her force blade in conjunction, and again, fluid coordinated movements and thrusts and slashes and everything. And I can't help but watch in amazement and in awe, because yeah, there's this seems like a perfect symbiosis of her movement, her body, and her weapons. And yeah, she looks like as if she indeed can take care of herself. All right, and after she's done impressing me with her moves, she programs the remote, and then starts to also deflect, just as Luke did, deflect blaster bolts, or little training blasts that just sting a little if they hit you from the remotes, and also in a very easy looking fluid motion. All right, and I'm like, and she does this for like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 minutes, which is actually a long time. If you imagine you're in constant motion for 5 or 6 minutes, constantly blocking training blasts, And then I go, well, that is impressive. Very, very impressive. I must admit, I've never seen such a beautiful but also deadly and elegant looking fighting style. You see me impressed. And she looks at me and tilts her head slightly to her side as if she can't believe that this barbaric human just made her a compliment or admitted that he is that he's impressed by her performance. And she goes, thank you, I suppose. Yeah, but we'll see. Good against remotes, that's one thing. Good against the living, that's something else. What do you say? A little contest. I don't know, can your laser sword? And she looks at me and just goes, it is called a shadow blade, if you must know. All right. So if can your shadow blade also block stun bolts? And she goes like, of course. I think I know where this is going. Yeah, do you? So enlighten me. And I smile. And she goes, you're going to suggest now that you're going to shoot at me with your blaster set to stun, and you want to see if I'm able to also deflect your stun bolts. Yeah, that is exactly what I was going to suggest. So why not? I think it should be a good practice. Actually, you're right. It is probably a good practice. So let's do it. Yeah, let's. All right. So, and then we basically, she assumes a combat stance, and I get my blaster out and set it to stun, and I hand it over to her. Do you want to double check that it is really set to stun? And she again raises an eyebrow. Considerate of you. She just goes, thank you, and takes a look at the blaster and then confirms that it is set to stun. Yeah. But don't accidentally flip the switch, even though I doubt that you would be able to hurt me. And she just smiles. All right, then let's go. And what I will do now is, because I mean her AC is while wielding her shadow blade is 16. Actually she does not have her armor on. So it is actually basic 10 plus 3 for her dex. That is 13 plus 1 AC when fielding force blade. This is the talent I rolled for her. So she's a wielder class. So actually it's only 14 because she does not have her light armor on. She only has her bodysuit. But since I have an attack bonus of +0 only, she would still or should still be able to deflect my bolts. So I'm going to roll 4d20. This is just for fluff. So I'm making just 4 attacks. Pew, pew. And she will then deflect all my shots. Hopefully for her. And and it's of course set to stun. And so it is 14. Oh, 1, 4, 10. So 3 misses, but 1, 15. So I go like, choo, 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 choo. And she with ease, pew, 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 deflects all bolts, but the last bolt just slightly nips her, ticks her, taps her, whatever it's called, nicks her at the shoulder. Pew, ah. And she it just stings a little, but she immediately regains her composure, because if you are distracted by such a minor distraction during combat, it would be pretty bad. So she's a highly trained warrior. So I did manage to nick her on the shoulder, and she goes, "That was good, but remember, I do not have my armor on. With armor, I would have not have felt this little sting." Yeah, maybe you're right. Let's go again if you want to. Why not? This is actually, and she almost hesitates, fun, as you humans would probably call it. Fun, let's call it, it is enlightening and somehow challenging. And she, for a moment, she almost looks a little satisfied. All right, so again, pew, 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 pew. All right, 2, 6, 4, 12, so no hit. So I'm like, pew, 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 pew. And she has adjusted to my shooting technique, and she just goes, pew, 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 and deflects all my bolts. And admit it, you love my sound effects. All right, so, and while we are training, and and this is a very engaging exercise also for me, because I'm constantly shifting position, of course, and I'm shooting low, I'm shooting high, as suddenly, now I have to roll what the encounter is. It is 4. The encounter I actually like the least, because I think it's stupid, these space creatures, but let the dice fall as they may. As suddenly a jolt goes through the ship, and we come to a sudden halt. And boop, 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 boop. There's like an emergency siren. Something's wrong. And I put my blaster into my holster and head towards the cockpit. And I just hear this noise as she retracts her blade and attaches the belt, the hilt to her belt, and joins me on the way to the cockpit. And through the cockpit window, I see a large octopus-like creature with very large tentacles. It's a space kraken. Let's call it a space kraken. And it's a space kraken, and because it's so massive, it projects like a mass shadow, like a little gravity well into hyperspace. And this is what pulled me out of hyperspace, or that what triggered the emergency shut or cutoff sequence, so that we dropped into real space, someplace in the middle of deep space, in the middle of nowhere. And there's this huge black bluish weird space kraken creature. It looks like a giant squid in space, but a real giant squid. So it dwarfs my starship, and it has like 8 tentacles that actually do have suction cups on them. And and all these space creatures, they live somehow of energy, of space radiation, of solar winds, of all this kind of stuff. So it's also attracted to my energy signature. And for this creature, I am basically food. All right, so let's do a little piloting skill challenge, while I have to evade these tentacles and also get clear of the thing and get enough distance between us to resume our hyperspace jump. All right, so what I will do is I will roll 1d8. So that is because for the 8 tentacles, and the number I roll, this is the number of skill checks I need to make. Like a skill challenge, I need that many successes before 3 failures, and to escape these tentacles. All right, so this time Rhya looks a little, yeah, a little amazed or dazed or baffled, whatever, because maybe she has never seen such a creature. I, of course, as a veteran space, no veteran space, I'm level 1, have heard of these creatures. Maybe I've encountered them. So let's see what the dice say about the tentacles. Oh, 2 tentacles. All right. So, yeah, I have to evade 2 tentacles. So, and if you need scrap paper, a little life hack here, I've come to use envelopes. I mean, you get tons of junk mail every day in your snail mail per paper or via paper. And why not? I figured, why not just use these envelopes just as scrap paper to jot down hit points and track combats or whatever. I mean, you would throw them away anyway, so they might be of some use. So, yeah, let's say the DC is 10 plus 1d4, or let's say it is, no, it's 10 plus 1d4. So the DC will be 10 plus 1d4. Of course, I roll a 4, so the DC is 14. So it is a DC 14 pilot challenge. DC 14, and I need 2 successes. That is not too bad. Before I get 3 failures. If I get 3 failures, I'm in trouble. Then the creature has grabbed our ship, or my ship. And yeah, so I'm using my wisdom modifier for my piloting check. And if you are wondering why, I explain all this in my Shadowdark rules document in the designer notes. All right, so yeah, so the first, so my background is gambler, so that does not really give me advantage on pilot checks, sadly. And yeah, wisdom is, I got a +3 modifier, so +3 versus 14. And the first roll, please. Of course it's a failure. First failure. Damn. All right, so I barely dodge 1 tentacle, but I head straight for another. Natural 1. I suck. How come I suck so bad? It's always the same thing with me and when I play solo. Ugh, damn it. All right, last one. I hate space creatures. I don't want to lift the cup. 14. Whew, success. Damn. All right, so one more, please. So I'm 1 success and 2 failures. So I need it's so this roll it's make or break. All right, so come on. Oh, wait. I do have 1 luck token left. Thank God, because I had 2 luck tokens. I used 1 for the hyperspace calculations, and I'm not cheating. I put this down in my journal. Luck token used. I haven't finished a rest yet, so that means I'm still at only 1 luck token, but all right, so this is good. Let me get these luck tokens out for a second. All right, so these are my luck tokens, and I only have 1 left. So I might get out of this after all. I have a slight chance. All right, so let's see. And yes, 14. Didn't even need it. All right, so that was very, very close. All right, so I do manage, but it is barely by the seat of my pants. I do manage to steer my YT transport, my YR transport, excuse me, my YR 1080. I managed to steer this one between the tentacles, and I go a loop at a corkscrew, and I just pass by this creature's beak. It has like a beak And then beep 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 beep. My Navi computer tells me it has finished recalculating our course. This time it didn't take that long because we already compiled the main route. Basically, this is just a minor adjustment, and then I'm also far enough away for the gravity well of the creature to not affect me. So I grab the hyperspace levers and I pull them back, and again the stars, they form into those elongated lines, and whew, off we go. Whew, that was close. Have you ever seen a creature like that? I move towards Rhya. And she goes, no, I have to admit, I have not. And she looks a little bit uneasy. Let's see, can I read from her expression that she looks uneasy? And I got wisdom +3, so this will be wisdom like intuition, but I got the gambler background, which means I'm good at reading people. So I get to roll with advantage. However, since she is such a disciplined and controlled warrior, and she also has the monk background because she comes from this disciplined order of secret elite warriors, the Shadow Huntresses, she is of course not hard to read. So it's a hard DC. It's DC 18, which is pretty hard for Shadowdark standards. It's like the hardest DC. But I do get advantage. I get to roll 2d20 +3. Let's see if I notice that she looks a little bit uneasy. Oh yes, 16 and 5. 16 +3 is 19. So even though, I mean, her perfect statue-like face actually does not give anything away, but I got a gut feeling. I look at her. What's wrong? Are you all right? You look a little uneasy. And she slightly turns her head towards me and again raises an eyebrow. And she just nods slightly and goes, well observed. Damn, this is like the first thing I've heard from you that could be, maybe, might be read as some sort of approval. I just realized something. So what did you realize? I realized that I'm in an environment that I cannot fully control out here in space. Actually, I have to trust you and your abilities to steer this vessel. And no matter how good of a combatant I am and how skillfully I am, here in this environment, in the darkness of space, in this little vessel, it seems like my life is in your hands. And this is something I don't like. If I'm in a situation I can control. Well, you got to deal with it. I mean, it's the same as if you are going on a passenger cruiser or whatever. So I take it you do not travel a lot through space. Not really. I try to avoid it. It's a necessity of my trade, but usually I stick to well-known hyperspace routes in populated areas of space where the travel times are short and the routes are somewhat safe. I mean, even if they're pirates or slavers and if they board your vessel, it still comes down to me versus them and my combat prowess versus them. But here, in the darkness of space, in this, and she looks around in the vessel in this vessel, and she says it with a slight disdain in her voice, and I go like, hey, careful, not a bad word about my versatile rust bucket. She's always had my back, and as you can see, again, yeah, well, I just need a while to process this situation and to come to terms with it. I'll be in my quarters. Wake me if we arrive at the coordinates. Yes, ma'am. I go with a sarcastic little tone in my voice. But you know what? I should get some sleep as well. And she goes, but you're the pilot. Yeah, I am the pilot, but it's on autopilot, and like I said, it'll take us 3 days. What do you think? I stay up 3 days in the cockpit? I don't know about you people, but we humans do need sleep. And speaking of you people, what exactly or what is your species called? And she goes, this is on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know. I can't see in what way this knowledge would affect your ability to complete this mission in a positive way. And I go like, well, it doesn't really affect my ability to complete this mission, but if you know so much about us humans, you also know that we're actually pretty social people. And we like to interact with other species and mingle with other species and learn about other species. This is why we have spread to so many worlds. And this is what drives us, our ambition, our quest for knowledge, our desire to explore the unknown. Well, you sound like a noble explorer, but as a matter of fact, you're just a mercenary. A pilot for hire. Yeah, you're right. I'm just a mercenary. Why don't you go to your quarters and I do the same? Rest assured, princess, you don't need to worry about me getting us to your coordinates. Well, I can tell you, I am not a princess. I am not of noble blood, if you must know. Yeah, you know how I meant it. I'm afraid I do not. Well, then you got some time to try to figure it out. And I head to my quarters, and she does the same. All right, and then the rest of the journey is uneventful, and we arrive at the hyperspace, at the coordinates that she provided. So I'm completed a rest successfully, obviously, on board my ship, because it's safe there, and no more encounters are happening. And then we arrive at the coordinates. So I, well in advance, I make my way into the cockpit, like, I don't know, maybe like 2 hours or so before we are due to arrive. And then as the indicator comes on, I flip the levers and we drop into real space at these coordinates that she provided. So let's see if the vessel is actually there. And it is a 50% chance. And I'm using my improvised D100 or D% oracle, which works like this. I just assign the percentage value for a yes answer. I roll the dice. And if I'm within the percentage value for yes, it is a yes. Otherwise, it's a no. And 1 to 5 is an extreme yes. And 95 to 100, an extreme no. And if I roll doubles, a random event is triggered. All right, so it's a 50% chance. Ooh, 94, almost an exceptional no, and no random. So we arrive at the coordinates, but the ship is not there. All right, so there's no ship here. I can see that. But as I have said, it can't be far. The ship is adrift, I know that much. So it's gotta be around here someplace, but it'll also probably have very low energy emissions. Like I said, it's adrift, and I think it suffered a complete power failure. So it'll either be on emergency power or without any power at all. All right, so let me calculate and program a search pattern from these coordinates and see what we can do. All right, so again, it'll be a skill challenge. And it'll be this time an intelligence skill challenge for calculating the search pattern and also operating the sensors, calibrating them for little very faint energy emissions and such. All right, so again, I will determine the DC. It'll be, make it not too difficult, make it 9 plus 1d4. No, you know what? Make it 9 plus 1d6. So anywhere from 10 to 15. Yeah, all right. So 9. And let's make it 9 plus 1d4, actually. Just to keep the tension up a little, but not to completely maybe steer the mission into a failure. So 9 plus 1d4. All right, 9 plus 3, that is 12. So it is a DC 12 skill challenge using intelligence. Luckily, I have +2 intelligence. So again, this time I need 4 successes. This is like a standard difficulty skill challenge. 4 successes before I have 3 failures. And this time the DC is 12, and it's an intelligence check to operate the sensors. And you know what? Because 4 eyes do see more than 2 eyes, but Rhya is not trained in starship operations. So I do not get advantage. I just get an additional +1 because she also keeps an eye out yeah, so I operate the scanners, calculate the course, and she just keeps her sharp eyes out. So I got +2 intelligence, and I get +1 from her also looking. So it's a +3 DC 12, and let's roll it. First check. I need 4 successes before I need or I get 3 failures. First roll. It's a natural 1, of course, so that is a failure. Second roll. 7, that's a failure. Damn. Third roll. Why do I always make it so hard on myself? 14, that's a success. All right, next roll. If I fail, I use a luck token. Yes, 13 plus 3, that is 16, that is a success. Whew, this is tense. Again, skill check, +3. 6, I'm going to use a luck token. Again. $14. Whew. This is really tense. I got 1 luck token left. I need 1 success, and I only have 1 failure left. And 11 plus 3, 14. Yes. Whew. Thankfully, I make it without having to spend all my luck tokens. So this is it. It's 4 to 3 here on my little envelope scrap paper. And there's something on the scopes. And she points out of the cockpit window. Yeah, I can see it over there. Damn, this sucker drifted quite a distance, I go. And then I steer my vessel towards this ship. And what I see now is very, very amazing, because this is a vessel I have not seen before. And I do have a nice picture prepared, and I changed my lightning setup, so I will show it to you. This vessel drifts in space. However, it does not look as nice, because the hull is very corroded. So it looks like this, but the hull is covered with corrosive damage. And also this blue glowing light is not blue glowing, but red glowing, as if it would be, or as if it were the emergency lighting of a ship that operates on minimal life support and emergency power. So this ship is 150 meters across. So it is somewhat larger, actually a lot larger than my vessel. It still counts as a starfighter class vessel by my rules. So it's not yet a capital ship, but it's like on the fence. It still counts as a starfighter ship, because it's also it looks very, very sleek and elegant. So it's probably highly maneuverable. It almost looks organic, like like a space creature, almost, also like a space dolphin or whale or whatever. And this is a vessel of a type and construction that I've not seen yet, and it is drifting at the edge of this nebula. And I'm really, really amazed as I see this vessel. All right, and I'm going to link this picture, I document to this picture, to this artwork in the video description. And this is AI generated with Leonardo AI. And the Albedo XL model that I really like. All right. So now you've seen this vessel. And and I'm like, I point at this vessel as I come closer. Is this one of yours? I go. It is the ship I was sent to destroy. But before I do that, I have to board it and retrieve something. That is all you need to know. Yeah, I know. But I'll go with you. And she goes, no, you won't. What do you mean I won't? Well, I want you to stay on board this ship so that you're ready in case anything goes wrong, or I need to make a quick exit or whatever. Yeah, right. Listen, princess. On this ship, I take orders from one person, and that is me. So I'm telling you, I'm coming with you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Are you sure about that? She goes, yeah, you could probably kill me, but if you do that, who's going to fly this ship back for you, huh? You? Stubborn as they come, she goes. And I, even though she's very, usually has a very, very, high amount of self-control and composure, I think I detect a hint of anger in her voice now. All right. well, maybe I do need your help. I don't know what defense mechanisms on board this vessel might have been triggered, and maybe I need some technical expertise that I don't have, and I doubt you have, but it can't hurt. There should be a docking hatch at the underside of the vessel. Why don't you dock your ship and I get ready? And with that, she disappears in her cabin to get into her armor. And this is where we will end this session. All right, so I really, really enjoyed it because you might have noticed it watching this series. I really love the interaction between those characters. And even though I'm the one interacting with myself, which if you think about it, might qualify me or send me straight to the Luna bin. The thing is that because of the backstory of this campaign that I went into, I have a very clear picture of how this character acts and reacts, because this is, like I said, a tribute or homage campaign to a campaign I've played 20 years ago for several years over irregular sessions. So I really, really enjoy reliving these character interaction moments, because this is basically how it went when I played in person. Actually, we were constantly like doing this verbal battle, and this personal interaction was what made this campaign so special. So this is, I think, why I enjoy these characters so much. But I hope you enjoy this too, and I can't wait to play the next season in this series of adventures in the Keldor sector. So I hope you have a wonderful remaining evening, and as always, stay safe and stay healthy, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.